I think I was about 8 years old. By this time, my real dad was an alcoholic, and he was abusive, and he was gone. My mom, had a boyfriend, and they would drink, and they would have parties, and there were 7 of us kids, so to shut us up, they would give us a vodka and orange juice. I wanted to go back and get another one, and so I told my brothers, let's go get another one, let's get another one. I just kind of bugged them, so then we all went. And so they gave us another one, and then I wanted another one, and they were like, no, you guys need to go to bed. About a year later, I was out late, so I was 9 years old. I was at the park with a friend of mine, and his brother came along and said, hey, do you guys want to smoke a joint? And, I had never smoked a joint, and so we smoked a joint. I just remembered I couldn't stop laughing, and I couldn't get down off the roof because we had climbed up on the roof. So I just saw it as something that was fun. It quickly escalated into another guy that lived a couple doors down. We saw him at the park, and he was huffing paint, so he's like, you guys need to try this. And so we tried it. That escalated into huffing all kinds of stuff, glue, gas, whatever we could get a hold of. I know I was about 11 years old, and a friend of mine, his parents would go out for the weekend out of town, and his brother would sell coke. So I would spend the weekend over there. He would get phone calls and put a bunch in a bag, and then we would get a piece of paper with addresses on it, ride our bikes around the neighborhood, going to people's houses, taking them the cocaine, getting the money. I hadn't eaten all day, and that night we were just sitting at the table doing cocaine, and I overdosed. I started vomiting like violently, and I fell out of my chair, and I fell onto the ground, and they carried me in the bathroom. I'm 11 years old, and my brother said that if you're not better by tomorrow, we're gonna go drop you off in the desert. But that was life in my neighborhood. People talk about, you make choices to do that stuff and it's your own fault. And I didn't understand barely right from wrong. By the time I was 16, I tried to kind of right myself, and I made different friends, and I went to Phoenix Job Corps, and I went to school for auto mechanics, and then I joined the Army in 1990. I drank the whole time. Alcohol has been my constant companion. It's really easy to drink in the Army, and I smoked weed I think twice, and I did coke once. And somehow I was just able to not do it. Even my drinking would kind of go on and off. After I got out of the Army, within a year I was drinking every day. Started doing cocaine almost daily because I needed cocaine to go to work. I was asked to quit because I was making mistakes, and I was a surgical tech, and that's just not a good thing. So I was able to get another job right away. I just said, I had a problem with the nurse over there, and that lasted about 4 months, because pretty much, by that time, my routine was I would get off of work, go home and take a shower, I would take a nap, and then I would get up and go to the bar. Some days I would tell myself, I'm not gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna sleep through, and then go to work. No matter what I tried, it just didn't happen. Somehow I would end up at the bar. When I didn't have money for the bar, I started drinking at home. And I started at home drinking beer. I tried switching to wine. I tried switching to hard liquor. I don't even know what my reasoning was for switching. There's a whole big part about it that I like to think that I understand. I had a friend that I knew really liked to party, and so I said, let's just go. Whatever you want to do. And so he took me somewhere and got me smoking crack. And crack really solved my alcohol problem, but it also took all my money. Within 2 months, I was homeless, broke. I started getting arrested, going to jail. I would be clean, of course, in jail, and I would just, I would always have this plan. So I would talk to my mom, Mom, I'm gonna come home, and I knew that all I had to do was just make it home when I got out of jail. Between jail and home, that feeling would just be too much. It's just it's like this pressure, and it's like this intense anxiety and these thoughts of using becomes so big in your mind, and it's like, and I remember telling somebody, even when I still had a job, I would leave work sometimes telling myself that I was not going to go to the bar. I'm not going to go to the bar. I'm not going to go to the dope house. And I can remember fighting with myself, pleading with myself not to do this. And I would be on my way thinking, I can't believe I'm going to do this. Why are you doing this to yourself? And at times crying, and a lot of people don't understand that, but that's how powerful addiction is. And it's like you're just along for the ride. And no matter how much I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it. And even though I would have periods of sobriety of maybe 6 months, 8 months, somehow I would find myself doing it again. I wanted to die. I felt like that was the hand that I had been dealt. So they admitted me into the psych ward. So all they had was outpatient. And they wanted me to go to a halfway house called Crossroads. And Crossroads has their own program, where they do life skills and relapse prevention. It took me 2 weeks of walking around the hospital. I need to be willing to try whatever anybody has to offer me. I am involved in a 12-step fellowship. Not super actively, but I stay involved. I am going to school to be an addictions counselor. I understand now that addiction is a disease, has many factors involved, and for me, I had a lot of those factors in my life. My sober date is October 2nd of 2011. That was when my blood finally came back clear of methamphetamine. My life today is just amazing. I have paid off all my bad debt, except for there's one gal that I wrecked her car that I can't find or I can't get a hold of. My credit is probably better today than it ever has been. I got married, I have a 1.5-year-old son, and my life just keeps getting better in a way that I never would have thought. And I can't say that it was just one thing. I'm glad that I did IOP. I'm glad that I did life skills and relapse prevention at Crossroads. I learned so much from those things, and just being willing to listen to people. There is hope. You can learn a new way of living. It's not easy, it takes work, but it's possible. And I would not have believed it myself until I lived it. I am amazed every single day that I am sober, because I am a back alley drunk and a gutter junkie. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I was going to be sober, off parole and free, I would have called you a liar. First and foremost, I look forward to getting home from work every day. I love my family. They are just amazing. What trips me out is I look forward to everything today. Everything is just amazing. Life is this amazing thing that's full of wonder. I feel like Curious George sometimes, that Curious George song. Life is amazing. And, I go to church now, and I do all these things. I mow the lawn and change the oil, and all these little things that give me a sense of who I am. And I say it that way because I was one of those people growing up that I felt like I never knew who I was. I always felt lost and excluded and alone. And I just don't feel that way today.